This episode contains adult themes and is not appropriate for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, the world. This is They Will Kill, a true crime podcast. I am Courtney-iac.
And I'm Sadie-iac.
And we are sisters, and we talk about murder, and we laugh about things, too. Sometimes. Not murder. Murder's not funny. And we've instituted banter at the back, so there's plenty of things I'd love to say, but if you want to hear them, wait till the end, so we can just jump straight into the murder, because that's what you're all here for.
Did you want to do your corrections real quick?
Yeah, thank you for my corrections. For the last case, the case of the disappearance of Carrie Farver, I was mispronouncing Liz, the bad guy's name. It's actually, and I swear, I mean, it still sounds like Gallagher to me, but I think it's Goyler?
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 I think it's Goyler.
Goylar. Her last name is Goyler. And I was saying Gallagher because I got my information through a podcast. So what are you going to do? Correct yourself. You just correct yourself and move on with your life. So,
and hey, guess what? Fuck Liz.
I was going to say, you know what, Liz? I'll call you Liz Poopy Pants.
Done.
Take it. Take that, you murderer. So anyway, sorry about that. Take it away.
So today we're going to talk about the murder of Claire Tempongko. Claire Joyce Tempongko was born on February 6th, 1972. She was born in the Philippines. Claire was the second oldest daughter to a close-knit family of 5 that immigrated to San Francisco, California from the Philippines when Claire was 16. She was described as friendly, outgoing, a loving daughter, and mother to her young children. Claire's mother, her name was Clara, described her as clever. She was strong, she was tough. She loved to dance, party, and shop.
Same girl.
Claire had 2 young children, a son and daughter. Even though she was a young single mother supporting 2 children on a low-wage salary, she worked in various jobs, including retail, security, and data entry. She managed to save a few $1,000s. Her plan was to own her own home, and she dreamed of providing her children with a good education.
Awesome.
In November 1998, Claire met Terry N. Ramirez at a bar in Fisherman's Wharf while playing a game of pool. Claire thought Ramirez was very handsome, charming, and had a great smile. After that first night together, they were quickly inseparable. A coworker of Ramirez's remembers a time early in the relationship when Claire and a friend came to have dinner at the restaurant where Ramirez worked as a busboy. So Ramirez was working that night, but he made sure that they had lots of wine and good service. He paid for everything at the end of the night. His coworker said, quote, "The couple seemed happy, at least happy enough."
It's adorable.
I know. I love that early on. Mm-hmm. You know, I think the majority of us have had that experience of going to where our new love works and, you know, having them spoil a little bit. That's really fun.
In our group, our friend group calls it showing your worth. So when you get together in the beginning and you put your best foot forward and buy the wine and buy the dinner and do all the cute stuff. It's the best.
Get all the rounds.
Yep.
So shortly after the 2 began dating, Ramirez moved into Claire's cramped 1-bedroom apartment that she shared with her children. He began telling people that they were married and that Claire's kids were his.
Yikes. Slow down.
Yeah. Claire's mother, Clara, never approved of her daughter's boyfriend. He was rude to her. She didn't like that he would confuse the 5-year-old daughter by telling her that she was from Mexico and that he was her dad.
Yeah, that's crossing a line.
Yeah, she didn't like that the kids called him Poppy so early into the relationship.
I wouldn't either.
And what Claire's mom didn't realize at the time was that Ramirez's alleged abuse had started almost right away.
Oh, no.
So there isn't a lot of, you know, I would normally really like to build up a story a little bit, give you more background, but it seems like as soon as they started dating, pretty much the abuse started right away, and things get real bad real quick. So there is a long history of abuse in this story that I'm getting ready to tell you. So I want to be sure to put out a trigger warning for domestic violence. There's a lot of it. There's lots of details, and it's really pretty gruesome. So if that triggers you, I would suggest that you not listen to this episode. As much as we'll miss you, come back next time.
Please do.
But just a heads up.
Yep.
So on April 28th, 1999, 6 months into the relationship, San Francisco police responded to a domestic violence call at Claire's apartment. Claire told police that Ramirez, he had broken a window trying to get into her house after she had refused to let him in.
Yikes.
Concerned the noise would disrupt the neighbors, Claire then changed her mind and let him in. He immediately grabbed her by the hair, dragged her outside to the hallway, and pushed her to the ground. When police arrived, Claire said that she had told Ramirez that he could no longer live in the house because he had beaten her last week.
Ugh.
According to the report, Claire told officers he had, quote, beaten her numerous times in the past and had gotten more violent, and that she was, quote, worried for the safety of her 2 children and herself.
No doubt. How long have they been together at this point? Do you know?
6 months.
Jesus.
Yeah. Later that same night, Ramirez was arrested for a drunk driving accident. When the arresting officer on the DUI told Ramirez that his, quote, wife had called the police, Ramirez said, "Why? Because I punched her?"
Oh my God.
The officer's report states that Ramirez then moved forward, put his head next to the cage, and repeatedly made obscene and sexually violent threats against the officer's mother.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
If he's going to be that aggressive with police officers, I can only imagine how aggressive he was with the woman
Claire.
he's supposed to love. Yeah.
Right. Ramirez was arrested on spousal battery, 2 counts of drunk driving, hit and run, and using a false ID.
Ugh.
District Attorney Terrence Hanlon's office had everything they needed, including a confession to convict Ramirez of domestic violence. Instead, the very next day, his office discharged the spousal abuse charge in order to convict on the drunk driving charge as part of a plea deal.
Oh my God. How many times do we have to...
I know. And this happens over and over in this case.
Oh
So,
no.
yeah, just
maybe in this
buckle up.
Maybe in this new world that we're forming through this virus infestation, we can make this one change
Right.
moving forward.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
God,
We can put it on the list of things that need to change.
it's a very short list. There's just like 2 or 3 things that we need to work out, and that's one of them. We were doing so well before. I'm just kidding.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's sarcasm, guys.
I was rolling my eyes like so hard.
Ooh.
So Claire is granted an emergency protective order against Ramirez for this.
Good. I mean,
But
he should
otherwise-
be in jail.
Yeah. Just 3 weeks later, on May 18th, police were called again. According to the police report, officers found Claire, quote, crying hysterically, shaking, and very scared.
Oh my
She
God.
kept saying, "Don't leave me here with him."
What the fuck?
Claire told police that she and Ramirez had been at a club when someone asked her to dance. He became very angry and started fighting inside the club. A friend brought them back to his apartment to calm Ramirez down. The friend told police that Claire told him, quote, "You just don't know him. He hits me a lot," and kept telling him not to leave her alone with Ramirez.
Poor girl.
So according to a police report, quote, "It should be noted that Claire told us that during the 6-month relationship, Ramirez had hit her 18 times.
Jesus.
Police arrested Ramirez on 5 felony charges, including spousal abuse, assault with a deadly weapon, terrorist threats, and kidnapping.
That'll get him in jail for a long time, right?
You would think so.
God.
5 days later, on May 23rd, Claire went to the San Francisco Police Department's Richmond station to report that Ramirez had gone to her apartment in violation of her protective order and left her a note asking her to meet him later. The handwritten letter was booked into evidence. Claire led officers to Ramirez, and he was arrested and booked. So I guess I didn't write it down in here, but so after those felony charges, it looks like he was let out on bond.
Of course he was.
So then he was arrested and booked again. At his court date 2 months later, the district attorney allowed Ramirez to plead guilty to only 1 charge, dismissing the other 4 felony counts.
Why? It's not like, for the first time around, I don't think it's an excuse, but it's slightly more understandable. But this is his third time.
Right. Within like 2 months.
Within a very short amount of time. So absolutely not. I mean, absolutely not ever, but what the hell?
It reminds me of season 3 of Serial.
Yeah.
Have you listened to that one?
I have not.
It's really good. She follows the same, I think it's in Cleveland, the same courthouse every day.
Right.
And they talk a lot about plea deals and why they do them. And they're trying to save money and time. So they just let people off. But, you got to
prioritize
balance
it.
this.
Yes.
Right? Let the people who are smoking joints off.
Yes,
Keep the people who are terrorizing and ruthlessly beating women. Keep them in jail, please.
There's
Make
plenty
them do time.
plenty of nonviolent offenses where people don't need to spend time in jail.
Right.
Like, put them in rehab, do nothing. I don't care. But any kind of violent crime needs to be punished. They need to be physically removed from the situation and confined away from people that they can hurt, because it's not like he's just not going to stop.
Right.
Clearly he's not going to stop.
Yep. So Ramirez was sentenced to 3 years probation and an agreement to complete a batterer's class for domestic battery charge.
Cool. That'll shape him right up. What the fuck?
Yeah. He briefly attended classes but was kicked out after missing 3 of them.
Of course he did. He swears at cops and sexually harasses their mothers in cop cars. He's not going to follow through with a battery class.
No.
Guys.
So then in October, Ramirez was arrested for peeping into a public restroom stall. Mm-hmm. Police note that he is on probation, but the case is dismissed.
Oh my God.
I know. It goes on and on.
Oh no. Even just peeping into a restroom stall, that's so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've all kind of
predatory.
breezed by when you're little and you look through the stall just to make sure somebody's in there,
Right. I mean, I think I'd do that. So
no,
I don't look.
Never do. I know, of course I do. You just
you got to make sure that somebody's in there, but you're not trying to find the biz. Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway. You could take that out.
No, I'm not.
On November 18th, Claire's mother and stepfather called police to report that Ramirez had again beaten Claire and that both were still inside the apartment.
God.
Officers found the two and interviewed them separately. According to the report, Claire told police that Ramirez had grabbed her hair, pulling her head back and wouldn't let go. Claire fled, then brought her mother back to the apartment with her. Ramirez started yelling at her mother, who then called the police. At that point, Ramirez grabbed Claire by the shoulders and forced her into a bedroom, closing the door and refusing to let her leave until the police arrived.
Ugh.
Quote, Claire stated she then became afraid for her safety because Ramirez had a history of abusing her, the police report states. It goes on to say that Claire told them Ramirez was on probation for domestic violence against her. She signed a citizen's arrest form, and Ramirez was arrested for battery and false imprisonment. At this point, 2 things should have happened. Ramirez's probation should have been revoked, sending him to prison on the original spousal abuse charge, and 2 new charges of battery and false imprisonment should have been filed. In fact, the probation officer recommended that Ramirez's probation be revoked and that he be sent to state prison. So the probation officer, that was his recommendation.
What the hell?
But instead, the district attorney offered Ramirez yet another deal.
Why?
Only a probation violation was filed, and the new charges were dropped.
Oh, my God.
Ramirez was sentenced to 6 months in jail. He was out in 4.
Jesus.
Yep. So Claire's mother says that after this incident, she offered to send Claire and her children to the Philippines to forget him, but Claire wouldn't go. While in jail, Ramirez entered a program called RSVP, a 5-day-a-week comprehensive anti-violence program for inmates with a history of domestic abuse. He even continued the program and had a decent attendance for months after he was released from jail.
Interesting.
His program facilitator said that, quote, in custody, he was compliant and nice. He learned the program. He could spit back what he'd learned, but his behavior didn't change.
Yeah. I wonder what the success rate of programs like that is. I'm glad that they exist. My God, I'm all for rehabilitation, but I wonder how many of them actually come out on the other side. Any form of changed, you know?
Yeah. It's a good question. At a women's gathering that RSVP hosted in the summer of 2000, Claire said angrily, quote, "This program doesn't work. Either he will kill me or I will kill him."
Wow.
A caseworker called her several times after that and left messages, but didn't hear from her for months. Eventually, Claire scheduled several appointments, but she never showed up.
God. And they didn't continue the follow-up or finish following up with her?
It doesn't sound like it.
Yep.
He came horribly close to killing Claire on September 1st of 2000. Officers responding to a domestic violence call found Claire lying in bed with her kids. According to the police report, she was crying uncontrollably with blood spilling from her mouth when officers arrived. They noted red marks around her mouth and neck. Claire told police that Ramirez was furious with her for coming home late after a night out drinking with friends. So she was out drinking. He was mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
He forced his fingers down her throat, grabbed her around her neck, and forced her into the bedroom, where he, quote, applied pressure around her neck to the point she had difficulty breathing.
Mm-hmm.
The report says Claire, quote, stated she felt he was trying to choke her to death.
God.
He then took her purse and left. She also told him that Ramirez had a prior history of domestic violence. She receives another protective order against him.
Oh, my God.
So at this point, the police had all the evidence they needed to get a conviction on spousal abuse.
Yes.
His probation should have been revoked.
Yep.
Ramirez should have been sentenced to prison on the original spousal abuse case.
Yep.
And this case and all the other interim cases should have been filed as additional crimes.
Yep.
But instead, Sergeant Al Loom, investigator with the San Francisco Police Department's Domestic Violence Unit, referred the case to the Adult Probation Department, not the district attorney.
What the fuck?
Loom told the San Francisco Chronicle that Claire had been drinking the night of the incident.
Oh, no.
Had not been hospitalized, and had not called police to check on the progress of the case.
What?
Quote, "It's up to her to call or come in for a follow-up," he said. He continues, "She didn't call, so we couldn't do a workup."
You're fucking kidding me.
No.
I hate that guy.
Yeah, this whole thing.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Let's all take a collective breath.
I don't know if I can.
Makes me
I've
really
lost
angry.
the ability.
I know. It's fucked up.
That's insane.
Yep.
Why? I mean, I'm sure it happens constantly. This guy's not just like a lucky dude that's just skating on through, but that is just insanity.
Yep. The DA's office claims they never received the report, despite indications on the police report that their office was copied. No arrest was made at all.
Jesus.
No charges were filed. With Ramirez free, the danger to Claire increased exponentially.
Yeah. Yes. This is a fact.
Yes. 6 days later, Claire again calls police to her apartment, reporting that Ramirez is making terrorist threats against her and telling the dispatcher that Ramirez had a history of violence with her and that she was scared he was going to hurt her. Mm-hmm. Claire showed the officers the emergency protective order from the September 1st incident, which had not been served. Mm-hmm. The police filed a, quote, terrorist threats report. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but...
I know what it means, actually, because of 90 Day Fiancé. So I'm glad that research is coming in handy right now. Because one of the guys almost doesn't get his visa to stay in Brazil with his wife. Because terrorist threats, it just means making threats.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I figured.
Yep.
Yeah, Ramirez was arrested and booked only on public intoxication and providing false identification to police.
Yep.
So according to the press, there was no reference on booking papers to Ramirez's threats or his history of domestic violence.
Oh, my God.
When it came to court, prosecutors dropped the case due to lack of evidence.
I feel like I'm insane.
I know. Quote, "It just looked like a drunkenness in public case," DA Hallinan told the press. Both probation officials and the DA's office say they never received the police report.
Jesus.
So on September 22nd, Ramirez appeared in court for the October 1999 charge of violating his probation by peeping into a public restroom. So according to the judge, no mention was made of the previous domestic violence incidences by the DA.
Mm-hmm.
So he was sentenced to 30 days in the Sheriff's Work Alternative Program and ordered to report to the jail on November 1st.
So instead of going to jail for the 50,000 domestic violence reports and drunken public and DUIs and all the things that he's been charged for, he just gets sentenced to a work program.
Right. And the DA just fails to mention it. Like, they have the information. To pretend like they don't is just
insane.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
It's got to be because she's brown, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, they both are. Yep.
So they're like, let's just let him hash it out or whatever fucked up, racist, crazy thing.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a lack of concern because of that.
Yep.
So I also just want to say that this is just what I'm talking about tonight is only what has been reported to the police.
Right.
The abuse Claire suffered, I'm sure, was much more frequent and more terrible than we even know.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
So,
and the emotional and verbal and mental.
Yeah. And
stuff that you can't report on, the police won't come for because it's not quantifiable.
Right. So in less than 18 months, Claire called the police at least 6 times to ask for help because of the abuse she was suffering. And Ramirez was also arrested 6 times in the same time period.
God.
The justice system very clearly failed to protect Claire.
Yep.
And what happens next could have been avoided.
Poor thing.
So on October 22nd, 2000, Claire and another man took her children shopping for Halloween costumes. When they arrived home, an angry Ramirez burst into the apartment yelling, quote, "Where were you? Who were you with?" After 10 minutes of yelling, Ramirez grabbed a steak knife from the kitchen and stabbed Claire repeatedly in the stomach and chest.
Oh, God.
As her children watched in shock from a bedroom entrance nearby.
Oh, my God.
They saw their mother fall to the floor, where she was again stabbed. In total, she was stabbed 22 times.
Jesus.
Her 5-year-old daughter was quoted saying, quote, "I saw Mommy closing her eyes. Blood was coming from her chest."
Oh, my God.
Ramirez then fled the apartment with a knife. As Claire's son rushed to his mother, he told her he loved her and ran to get help from neighbors.
Those poor, 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 poor kids.
Yeah.
That's so horrifying.
Yeah. So at 9:12 p.m., Claire Joyce Tempongko was pronounced dead before arriving at the hospital. She was only 28 years old.
Oh, my God. She was a little baby. Ugh, God.
So Claire was stabbed multiple times in the chest and was slashed on the face, arms, and neck. Police at the scene found her glasses and earrings scattered on the floor next to her body. After Claire died, her children were separated.
Oh, no.
Yeah. The little girl went to live with Clara, Claire's mom, and her brother moved in with his biological father, who lived in the suburbs. They had different dads, the kids did. A quote from an article in the San Francisco Gate magazine said, quote, "Her granddaughter, now 8, is doing well in school," Clara said, "but she worries about her grandson, who at the time was 13.
Yep.
Sometimes she catches him sitting still as clay and staring far away," she said. "When he cries, he always calls for his mother."
Oh, my God.
She goes on to say, "I cry whenever he's crying because he's suffering."
It's... Ugh. Yeah.
In her book called Dreams from the Monster Factory, Sonny Schwartz, who was the director of RSVP at the time of Claire's murder, says, quote, "After Terry Ramirez killed Claire Tempongko in RSVP, we learned to look at every survivor we worked with as if they were in a pine box. That's what's at stake."
Yeah. Yep.
So Claire's children positively identified Ramirez as their mother's killer, and neighbors witnessed him running from the apartment. They also found the murder weapon 2 blocks from the scene of the crime where Ramirez dropped it as he fled. A manhunt was launched right away by the FBI for Ramirez, but the police were unable to find him. After time passed, it was believed that Ramirez had fled to Mexico, where he grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Pushed by advocates, the police department tried to persuade America's Most Wanted to air a segment about Ramirez, to no avail.
Uh-huh.
The police inspector investigating the case was quoted saying, "It's a sad state of affairs to say it happens all the time. There was nothing in his background that made him more interesting or stand outish than any other case." Continues to say, after a writer came out and took all the notes and background and everything, the producers just said, "There's nothing really here."
Wow. God. Just like, well.
Not a white girl.
Not a white girl. And also just happens all the time.
Right.
Girls are getting beaten to shit constantly. So
Stabbed in front of their 2 young children.
yeah, give us something that people can latch on to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. In San Francisco, anguish over Claire's murder turned to anger as details emerged of how the criminal justice system had failed her.
Good.
There was much public outcry to fix the broken system.
Good.
In April 2001, the Prevention Fund, Asians Women's Shelter, and the Sheriff's Department formed the Committee for Justice for Claire Joyce, which advocates reforming the criminal justice system and policy changes that would prevent domestic violence victims from falling through the cracks.
Good.
Claire's mother, Clara, was quoted in the San Francisco Examiner as saying, quote, "Every time my daughter asked the police for help, they didn't give her any protection.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's dead and her children are suffering. Claire called the police and they said, quote, same old story, and laughed. Who's laughing now? Because she's dead."
Yeah. Like, how could you not take that seriously? I can't. I just...
No. Makes me, like, so mad inside.
So mad inside. I know as a police officer you deal with a lot. Like, there's a lot going on in the world and you have to choose your battles. But that is like...
This is a battle worth fucking choosing.
Yeah,
you know?
and who is more important to protect than a young mother and her children?
Right.
Like, well, who are you trying to protect if not a young mother and her children?
Right. Who has called and called and called, desperate for help.
Yeah.
You know?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And those poor kids, like, seeing the police fail their mother and fail their family on that level. Like, who do you ever trust? How do you ever ask for help for the rest of your life after you've watched that? And how do you ever feel safe? You can't.
No.
If the people were, their only purpose is to keep you safe.
Right.
Can't keep you safe. Then who the fuck can?
Yep.
Jesus.
So Clara sued the city and county for violation of civil rights on behalf of her grandchildren and daughter's estate. Quote, "Claire Joyce Tempongko was deprived of her right to equal protection under the laws designed to protect domestic violence victims," is what the attorney said. The police commission settled with the family for $500,000 in 2004, which clearly, I don't even think it's enough money. It should be like 10 times that.
I think that they should have to just shut the city. You know what I mean? Like,
Seriously.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm so fucking mad. It's like when somebody dies because your city didn't do the right thing, didn't do their job, 1 million people didn't follow through. It just, I know that's not how it works, but that feels like that's how it should work. You know, everybody who involved should lose their job, and then the city should just be like, well, got to shut our doors because we let this lady die. And what's the fucking point of living in the world, in a city, and having a society if we can't figure it out and take care of each other? So I'm really glad they got the money, but yeah, it's not nearly enough.
So on June 15th, 2006, the FBI finally arrested Ramirez in Cancun, Mexico, where he was living with a close relative and working under an assumed name. Ramirez fought extradition for 10 months before he was brought back to San Francisco in April of 2007.
Yeah.
He pled not guilty of murder.
That's not gonna fly.
No. The trial of Terry Ramirez began in September 2008. Prosecutors depicted him as jealously tormenting Claire with repeated phone calls, stalking her, and finally stabbing her. Ramirez took Claire's cell phone to call his friends and plan his escape, and ripped out the landline from her apartment to prevent the children from calling police.
Oh, no.
The defense tried to portray the relationship as rocky but normal.
Jesus.
They said Ramirez had acted out of blind rage after Claire told him that she had aborted his child.
Oh, no. They're going to victim blame
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
His public defender said that Ramirez had testified that he stabbed Claire after she told him, quote, "I killed your bastard. I had an abortion. I was right." That amounted to a heat-of-the-moment killing, not murder. The defense was hoping that Ramirez would be found guilty of manslaughter.
No fucking way.
Yeah, man. And clearly that's just problematic left and right.
Yes.
For lots and lots
Yes.
of reasons. Women should not ever be murdered because they choose to have an abortion.
Nope.
Whether, I don't even know if his story is true. I don't care.
Nope.
But that's one thing
Yep.
and also, you just don't kill people. You don't.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't matter what they say or what they do. You take a deep breath, you walk away.
Yes.
You stop beating the shit out of her
Yep.
over and over and over.
Yep.
Like, I know people have to have defense lawyers, but
I don't know how you do it.
you know, it's like, come on, man.
No, this is why I'm shutting the city of San Francisco, because it's unacceptable.
Oh, God, I know. I'm seriously just like full of rage right now. I gotta calm down.
I know I didn't anticipate us getting this worked up about it, but this is why I don't like domestic violence cases. I mean, it's important to talk about them because I can't just avoid the things that don't make me feel happy inside, but
Right.
this is why, because it's just so infuriating, and it's not changing.
Right.
And it just makes you crazy. And so short of
Yep.
shutting the system down, shutting the city, you just got to keep talking about it and hope that people are advocating and listening and doing the right thing and protecting women.
So during jury deliberations, the jury foreman said that the panel had started out evenly divided between first and second degree murder. Quote, "This was a brutal act, clearly a vicious and deplorable crime, but we struggled with that," the foreman said. So the defense actually really got under their skin, which also makes me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So first degree murder requires a finding that the killer acted with premeditation and deliberation.
Yep.
The foreman said several jurors believe that Ramirez's actions showed he had acted out of a spur-of-the-moment rage, which would constitute second-degree murder or manslaughter. On September 30th, 2008, Ramirez was convicted of second-degree murder with a sentence of 16 years to life in prison.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
That is, I don't even know what to say about that. Oh, that is a crazy travesty.
Yeah. Yep. So the abortion
Oh my God.
rage worked. It's awful.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. So during sentencing, Judge Robert Dondero harshly criticized Ramirez's testimony during his trial that the domestic violence incidences had been merely, quote, "the ups and downs of our relationship."
Oh my God. The judge said that? Or you criticized that?
No. So that's what Ramirez had said in the trial.
Oh, thank God. It's like,
Yeah, no. So he was criticizing that. The judge was criticizing Ramirez
good.
for saying that.
It's like, I got to go. I got to drive to San Francisco now and beat up a judge.
Right. No.
Okay, good.
The judge says, quote, "No human relationship can ever be described as ups and downs when it involves domestic violence. Your behavior lowered yourself to the level of the animal," he said.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. So the Tempongko family and their supporters breathed a sigh of relief after the conviction. But that relief, unfortunately for the family, was only temporary. In 2011, a state appellate court ruled 2-1 that Ramirez was entitled to a new trial,
No.
stating that a jury may not have considered manslaughter because the trial judge's definition of the crime was flawed. Luckily, on June 3rd, 2013, the California Supreme Court reinstated Ramirez's conviction of second-degree murder in a unanimous ruling.
Oh my God. Thank God. I was like,
Yeah.
if I have to start destroying my desk and punching out my windows.
Well, you might still have to.
Oh, no.
Ramirez was eligible for parole in August of 2019. So he went back to jail, or he stayed in prison.
Yep.
He was eligible for parole just in August, and guess what happened?
Please tell me he stayed in and then they just gave him extra time.
On October 29th, 2019, his parole was granted.
You are fucking kidding me.
No. And the only way that I found out about this information is that I got onto California's Department of Corrections site, and found his prison ID number or whatever and searched, and it was like parole granted. And I was like, oh wait, and the language was kind of funny. I was trying to figure it out, but no, he was let out.
No.
I don't have nobody. I think the case is old enough that it was not in any newspapers that I could find.
Right.
But as far as I can see from the Department of Corrections website, he's out of prison now.
Oh my God.
Yep.
This story is the worst story.
I'm so sorry. I know. And it was his first parole hearing.
Jesus.
It was granted. Yep. Claire's story inspired many community organizations to strengthen their advocacy against domestic violence.
Uh-huh.
Her death spurred laws to change in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Police can now use evidence from the crime scene without requiring the victim to press charges.
Oh, good.
The police department also now requires the probation department to sign every file they receive from the police.
Oh, thank God.
But still, it's like,
Yeah.
and maybe that's what was reported then. I don't know what the laws are like now in San Francisco. I hope that with the addition of like better computer systems,
Yeah.
I'm hoping the tracking system
Yep.
for offenders is much more stringent than it was back then.
Yep.
Is my hope. But that's just so that I can go to sleep not like full of terrible rage tonight thinking about this case.
Yeah. It's all about our comfort, really, when it comes down to it. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. No, I know.
Yeah. So just real quick, in case you're out there and need help, the National Domestic Violence Support Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. There's also a crisis text line, which is you can text CONNECT to 741-741. Especially right now.
Yeah.
I understand that being social distancing and quarantine with your family might not feel safe. So please get help if you need it.
Absolutely.
Please.
Yep.
Oh, and that's all I got for you guys today. I know.
Well,
it was a rough one.
It is a rough one, but it is so important to talk about. And I don't even know. I mean, I got a lot of work ahead of me shutting down everything. If the virus hadn't already done it for me, I would just be,
right.
I don't know. The system is so fucked up. I just don't really believe in it. I do a little bit. I know there are so many good people working so hard to protect us. But man, the ones that aren't, or the ways that the system fails, it just fails so unbelievably hard.
Right. Yeah, and I do think that they report on the ones where there's the failing, which I think is important, obviously, so that you understand what's happening. But, it's not as interesting to talk about the police or the district attorney or whoever came in and shut that shit right down and put that guy in jail for 20 years for the first abuse or whatever. I think that happens sometimes too, but I agree that we need to protect each other better.
Absolutely.
We need to be there and stop allowing abusers and rapists to just go on their merry way.
Yeah. Stop being desensitized to each other's humanity.
Right.
Right.
Well, and what did he do? What did Ramirez do in that parole hearing to get out of prison? I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't look at these facts of the case and the fact that he murdered her in front of her children. And
how do you ever get out of prison after that? It's one thing to murder somebody. It's another thing to murder them in front of children, their own children. Like the level of depravity and lack of humanity that takes. You should never, ever, ever be allowed to be out of prison and around other people and having anything that resembles a life.
No.
It's just, I don't know. This is why I'm not on parole boards, because I would just be like, I'm going to punch you in the dick before I send you back to jail for the rest of your life, because I'm so mad right now.
I know.
God.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for her. I'm so sorry for anyone who's suffering any level of abuse right now. And I don't know. I hope talking about it helps on some level.
Yeah. You're not alone.
No.
And people care.
Absolutely. They care deeply.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. I don't know how to bounce out of that, but here we are.
Here we are. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
The world keeps turning and people keep living and doing nice things too. That's not what this podcast is about, but they are doing nice things. Lots of them currently.
Yep. I've been seeing lots of 3D printers doing amazing things.
Oh my God.
These past few weeks, like making masks for workers.
Yes.
And ventilators.
Yes. I posted an article about group. I don't know what they were, but somebody in Italy doing exactly that, making ventilators with 3D printers. I posted it a couple weeks ago, and then fast forward 2 weeks, or not even, I think a week, and my friend had seen the article and started doing that in Colorado, and then another friend is doing it in Syracuse, and then like our little robotics team in my town that I live in, our high school robotics team is doing it.
Oh, that's so amazing.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Makes me so happy. Just, I think people are being their best, most brilliant selves right now. They're either being their absolute worst or their best and most brilliant. It's really like, there's a lot of gray area. And
I don't know. For me, I'm sort of like in that cycle. Like I'm either being so great or so
I was going to say, normal life.
Within a day.
Yeah, normal life allows us to just be kind of mushy. And, some people are horrible and some people are amazing. But the rest of us are just kind of mushy. And right now it's like, you're either screaming at your spouse over folding sheets or, innovating and coming up with ways to support the people in your life and like medical professionals. There's no in between.
Yep. Nope.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. The bar is low. Very, very low right now.
As my friend on Instagram said, it's just a dead, dried up stick on the ground. There's no bar.
Yep.
It's a dried up worm on the sidewalk, and that's okay. I'm so glad that this rise and grind. We got to hustle. Well, all that stupid bullshit. Like I work really hard. I'm a pretty engaged person, but give me a fucking break, guys. Like take it down a notch in general. When this is past, can we just stop? Like good for you if that's your personality, but don't put that shit on other people.
I know. I had a panic moment today that I own like 2 pairs of soft pants and it's just not enough right now. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't looked, but what if there's a run on soft pants in the internet and I can't get any more? I mean, if that's my problem, if that's like my main problem, I'm incredibly privileged.
Yeah.
But really, Courtney, what if there's no more sweatpants out there?
I got my sewing machine out making masks. I'll fashion you
Give me
some
some
soft pants. Yeah, man. We will make this world a better place. We'll keep you in soft
One
pants.
soft pants at a time.
Yeah. I woke up from a stress dream that I was missing a flight. Like,
oh no.
Yeah, the worst possible stress dream to have, especially at a time where there's not really flights.
Right.
Kind of put me in a weird place. I've been relatively calm this whole time and like anxiety free for somebody who has a pretty pronounced anxiety disorder. And it just sort of set me into a bad space this morning. I know, but it's just fine. I mean, I've really been at a 1 and it put me at like a 6 maybe for a little bit. And I was like going to make masks. I was going to run errands. I was going to do all, and quote by errands, I mean like deliver the masks. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put on Ridiculousness, which is my fucking favorite show. I love that show. And if you're not watching it, you are welcome because that is the happiest place to go. It is so funny. It's so good. I love Rob Dyrdek. I love Chanel Westcoast. I love Steel Brim.
Done.
Yep. But I put it on and I just chilled the fuck out and it was great. Yeah. And then I took a hike and that, by hike, I mean walk with my fat pugs who can't hike. That felt great. And then I was able to come home and do a couple productive things, but don't be productive.
Right
yeah,
now.
man. Yeah. Change the world.
That's right. Getting really fucking mad about this poor Claire.
I'm so mad at, who else I'm mad at? The person who gave us a 2-star review. We got our first bad review.
I'm just not mad about it. I really am not. I think it means that we have arrived.
I know, you're absolutely right. But it is funny. The only thing that made me mad was that they were amateur enough to start on the first episode of a young podcast. Like,
you gotta start at the top.
You gotta start at the top. Everybody knows this, especially we have like, 11 episodes? Give me a break, man. Like,
I know.
You gotta start at the top. when we've ironed out some kinks, and then endear yourself slowly so that when you get to the beginning where it's shitty,
I think it's adorable.
yeah, you're like, oh my God, like they're so cute. Like what did they record that on? Casio?
Why are they just making this shh noise with their mouths the whole time?
Why are they manically trying to make jokes? Because they don't know how this works yet. Yeah. What an idiot. I don't care about a 2-star review. I just care that people don't know how to podcast well enough that they started at the beginning and then gave the 2-star review.
Yeah.
At least give us a chance.
I know. That's all right. They don't have to.
No.
They can move on.
It's not for everybody. And in fact, I'm surprised that it's for anybody. So thank you for those of you who do like us and are listening, because it's kind of shocking, honestly. It's a very pleasant surprise.
Absolutely. Well, the numbers keep growing.
Yeah.
I was thinking we had, looking at the numbers, we have this little, I picture them as a coven of people in Dallas, Texas. So if you're listening from Dallas, thank you. Yeah, a whole bunch of them. I don't even know.
Holy shit. I hope we have a Dallas coven.
I hope so too. So if you're from the Dallas coven, reach out and say hi.
We know it's pronounced coven, but it's a American movie. Probably a lot of people haven't seen American movie. You're also welcome, because that's a great movie if you haven't seen it. Watch Coven, watch Ridiculousness, and report back.
Yeah.
I'm also painting a really interesting picture of myself. I love Bieber. I love Ridiculousness. I love HelloFresh.
Yeah. Notice I just sit here quietly. I'm the mystery.
I'm just a kind of fratty millennial. Of course, I'm not that, guys, but
yeah, kind of
think I am. No, I'm a fratty millennial trapped in a artsy lesbian body.
Oh God. Well, there goes my grandfather clock. It's time to get out of here.
Time's up.
Time's up.
Well, if you're not too bummed out by today's episode and want to keep in touch, you can find us at They Will Kill on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can email us. Please email us if you want to at theywillkillpodcast@gmail.com. And you can visit our website at theywillkill.com.
Please subscribe, rate, review on Apple Podcasts. We're still giving away totes. You guys.
Oh, yeah.
Totes.
Yeah. Get your hot totes.
Yep.
We've
They're
got
going,
a few left. So,
but you better get on it if you want a limited edition tote made by Courtney Eck herself.
Made by me in quarantine in my own house.
These are things that memories are made of.
Yep, and I didn't make any today because I watched Ridiculousness.
That's
so
good.
Supplies are limited, but can easily become unlimited because it's not a real arduous process for me to print out the thing and smash it on the thing. So get your totes. Yep.
We always want to thank AJ for our music. AJ
Absolutely.
Bergantz. So thanks, AJ.
Thank you, AJ.
And remember,
let me think of something. I'm never prepared for this. You think I would be, but
if you have kids, at home, and they're I don't know, 2 to probably 10, go buy a Stomp Rocket.
Oh, there you go.
Stomp Rockets.
This thing. And look, if you're 40, go buy a Stomp Rocket. The thing fucking rules. It is insane.
Yeah, it flies. It goes way up. And we got the one for young kids so they don't get their heads blasted off by the... But you can get one that goes up to 400 feet in the air. So go get one. They are so fun. The boys sat outside and played with that thing forever.
Cute. Do they try to catch it in a laundry basket or anything? That's what I would...
No, we haven't done that yet. Mostly just tried to keep the young ones from looking directly at it. His bigger brother stomps on it. So that's all I got, you guys. Go buy Stomp Rocket.
Yeah. Again, the bar is a dried up worm on the sidewalk.
That's right.
That's our big inspirational advice to you. Stomp Rocket. Ridiculousness. American movie.
That's right. We love you. Thank you so much for listening.
Love you guys so much. Peace out.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.